Hello and welcome to the Battling Barrow. A few years ago I took a deep dive look at Ares Games' The War of the Ring, and it's one of my favourite games. It's like a hybrid board game, war game. If you don't know, I'll put a link up here, one of those card things. If you haven't seen what it is, go and have a look at it. It's one of my favourite games. I don't get to play it that often because convincing people to play it is quite difficult because it's quite an in-depth game. Board games don't like, probably not interested in the war game aspect, or war gamers aren't interested in the board game aspect. But if they gave it a try and they realise it's the best game of all time. So I don't get to play it, but I have been collecting the expansions. This time last year, again, I'll put a link here, we looked at the mini expansion, the Lords of Middle-earth, and I had a quick look at it. And so what we're going to do today is look at the other expansion for it. Just have a quick look about War of the Ring and what's inside the box. So yeah, let's put this down on the table. And yeah, this is the box. It's got some lovely artwork by John Howe on the front of some ents. We turn it over. Got the back bit as you'd expect. Shows you the contents of the box, what to expect. We have these bigger cards, which is something different, and a couple of dice. Tells you a bit about it. New expansion, it brings a whole new level of strategy players. So we're going to have some extra warriors. Now these do act a bit differently to normal games. Have a quick look. I'm not going to cover the rules of them. This is more just a quick look at what's in the box. Inside, we have that around the edge, some more artwork. Inside we have the typical catalogue of what else is available. We've got the Hunt for the Ring and the Five Armies expansion list. We'll have a look at this a bit later on, so I'll put that to one side now. We have the rule books. This explains the rules and shows you what you're going to get inside. How to set up. New terminology. We have new factions, faction event cards, rather than just event cards. And these deal with the new factions, the free-aside factions. So what do we get? We're getting, for good, we're getting dead men, eagles, and ents. For evil, we're getting corsairs, dunlandings, and spiders. In terminology, so we get new dice results as well. We've got 2 new dice that you're going to use for the faction only. And it just explains a few things, like, where is it? Factions. Somewhere here explains that faction event cards, they're treated as event cards. The general faction event card is considered to be an event card and is subject to the same rules and effects as other event cards. Just so you know, so it's like an extra little thing in here, which is good. So bringing factions into play, so they're not just there as normal warriors, so it covers this here quickly. So the dead man, to bring them into play, they're not just a normal faction, as I said. Aragorn or Strider needs to be in one region, and it lists the region here. Eagles, the Fellowship's last known position must be in Rivendell or Gandalf the White is in play, and etc, etc. So Corsairs, like Southrons and Eastlands, have to be at war for the Corsairs itself. So there's different things you need to achieve to bring these into play. And I think, as soon as the faction enters play, you put like 2 here. It tells you where to start them. I believe some are finite and some are limited. Once they're gone, they're gone. Using the dead man. Just to show you a quick thing, it explains the different factions. They all have different rules, and this is one of the reasons I love War of the Ring. The asymmetry of it. It's not all just you have the same and you have the same. Different sides have different things they can do, and it's how they use them. None's better or worse than the other. So movement, 3 people's player can use attack shadow region. Any army doesn't have an army of dead attack is not a normal battle. This is how you're going to attack them. The shadow player cannot respond to an attack in any way, or call to battle, or use combat cards, or affect the roll. To attack, 3 people must eliminate 1 dead man figure from the army of the dead. Then rolls 3 dice, scoring hits and 4+. So yeah, these just sound like they're just going to constantly attack and be really deadly, but each time you do an attack, you're losing the model from the get-go, and they're a finite army. So yep, it'll give you an extra attack, but each time you're doing, you have to abandon a figure. And so if attack limit shown on knowing, yeah, when the attack ends, surviving is yes, and that is what it is. So I kind of like that. Elimination tells you how these are going to end their turn, and it's this one here, as I just mentioned, is when there are no more dead men in the army of dead, that faction is immediately out of the game. So, which I kind of like, and like Ares games do, they give great examples of some play. Elimination, so the eagles just eliminate when there's no more eagles in the game, whereas others keep going until I find if free pay. So in this one, even if you've got loads of Corsairs on the board still, if free people's controls Umbar, Corsairs is gone. I really like that. It's like a nice asymmetrical. And so we're just going to go through the rules here, explaining that. Next we'll look at these. These are little helper cards. So here we have the faction dice reference chart. So these are the standard dice from the game. Here we have the action dice, standard dice of the game. So we have the faction dice, standard dice, and then we have the keeper and lesser minion dice reference chart. Yeah, so it sort of explains that, which is cool. So I said these were for the standard game. I lied. These are with referencing the dice from this new game. Sorry, these are the faction dice. This is the dice from the standard game. Sorry, and this is the Lords of Middle-earth, the set I looked up last year. This is so sort of explaining it right there. It's kind of right in front of me, but you're screaming at me. Do. You have two of them, one for each player. Next, before we look at the miniatures, we'll look at the cards. So you have these sort of faction sheets to explain the rules here, really. So it goes over what's in the book. So you can see elimination, call to battle, yada yada, and again, lovely art by John Howe. So have those, British Shelob. I won't go over the rules to show the front. Hillman of Dunland, Corsairs, the Ents, Eagles, the Army of the Dead. That's great artwork, fantastic. Standard for this game, you're going to get a load of new cards. So get a Treebeard card. I believe this was a limited edition figure somewhere. So, but it was just like a normal model. But now you got rules for Treebeard, so that kind of replaces a card or something. It says so in the rules. Let's be a bit more scientific for this. Yeah, so you go. You play this expansion with the base game or Lords of Middle-earth. If you use the Treebeard promotional figure in your game, replace its character card with the Treebeard card included in this expansion. The Treebeard figure is not included in this expansion. But yeah, that's what we've got here. So then we have 3 of these cards here. These are event cards, so these are just like normal event cards for the Shadow player. 3 of those. I believe the free per people's players get 6 event cards. I'm not going to go into what they are because they'll give away the game. You'll have to buy it if you're interested. And I believe we're going to have 6 call to battle cards. So these are calling to battle things like the Corsairs here, double endings, and your spiders. These are getting them into the game if you need to. Play this card if there are Corsair figures in the same region as the Shadow Army. So you're basically using these to get them into the battle, using them to fight. And likewise, we'll have 6 for the Free Peoples with the same artwork we've already seen. And then what we're going to have here is 20 Shadow People faction event cards. So if we just look at one, recruit 1 Corsair figure in Umber. So if you get to pick a faction event card or play a faction event card, this is what it is. So it's going to help you get the new stuff into the game. And likewise, you're going to have 20 free people's ones, which are obviously going to be very Army of the Dead, Eagle, and Emp based. As well as some sort of, I think these are the 6 normal event cards. But yeah, well, that is the cards. We also have faction dice. Now, obviously, we have the Free Peoples, which is this lovely green, and so we have these different symbols, which are covered in. Yeah, we're going to cover them here. So if we look here, so let's go over it. This is Recruit Faction. There are going to be 2 of those. This is going to be Play Draw a Faction Event. So you roll these as well, and there are going to be 2 Play Draw Faction Events on here. And then there is this here, which is Recruit Play a Faction Event, and just in it, this is Recruit Draw Faction Event. So yes, that's Recruit Draw Faction Event, and that's Recruit Play Faction Event. Evil has Shadow has Recruit Faction. The wild dice symbol makes a return. This is Recruit Draw Faction Event. This is Recruit Play Draw Faction Event. And somewhere there is going to be the Eye of Sauron, which we're used to. And Recruit Draw, and then Recruit Play faction event, like the Free People's dice. And that's the dice. Well, these just get added to your dice pool. The instructions sort of explain it. And now I shall put these back here before we look at the models. So we'll just take one of each. Come here, you Army of the Dead Man. Here we go. So we just take one of each just for now. So we have the End. Okay, pretty cool. I like that. Showing his strength off. An End. We have Eagly. For such small figures, they're really nicely detailed, really, for board game figures. Nice hard plastic. And a dead dude looking really raggedy and rotted. That's pretty cool. Let's put this back in the box before I forget. Yeah, so Corsair, obviously represented by a ship. Naturally. Dunlending. Old man Dunlending, big bushy beard and a wild look in his eye. And then a spider of Mirkwood, looking creepy and horrible and yucky. And yeah, well, that's it for this game. So yeah, that is pretty much the game covered. I'm just going to have a quick look at the catalogue now. We could look at the Hunt for the Ring and the Battle of the Five Armies. Hunt for the Ring's its own separate game, so I might do. Perhaps I'll do that next year. Maybe, or maybe even this year. The Battle of the Five Armies is pretty similar to War of the Ring, so if I don't get a chance to play the bigger, better War of the Ring game, I'm not going to get a chance to play Battle of the Five Armies, so I probably won't get that yet. But the expansions are pretty much done. Here's the War of the Ring here, and here's the... What's that? There's another expansion. I didn't know that. Kings of Middle Earth. Well, alright then. Same time next year then.